better. Do big. Do good. Do it again and again and again. Do what no one else has done with radio. This is our promise at Diamond FM. Diamond 88.7 FM. Shining supreme.
The time is 9 o'clock.
Aago mẹ́sàn-án ti lù.
You can only get timely, credible, and reliable news on your shining supreme station. Diamond 88.7 FM, Ilorin.
For the best of national, local, international news and sport, tune in to News Punch and Diamond 88.7 FM. News Punch, all about the news.
It's 1 minute gone past 9 a.m. Good morning and thank you for joining us on today's edition of News Punch on Diamond 88.7 FM, Ilori, where we bring you the trendy stories across the globe. I am TOBI ADEBISI and here are the stories making waves across the world today. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission has said that it remained undaunted in its prosecution of a former Registrar of Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, Professor Dibu Ojerinde. The ICPC, which is prosecuting Ojerinde for alleged 5 billion naira fraud, alleged in statements that Ojerinde used several false names, aliases and forged means of identification to perpetrate his corrupt practices through various bank accounts and still retains the resources and influence to evade justice. The ICPC also rejected a recent ruling of the Federal High Court in Abuja which ordered it to pay Ojerinde 1 million naira damages over his rearrest on January 26 on the court premises. Still in Nigeria, former governor of Oyo State and Otun Olubadan of Ibadan Land High Chief Rashidi Ladoja has broken his silence on the elevation of 11 high chiefs to the status of beaded crown Oba. He was not interested in any crown than that of the Olubadan of Ibadan Land. Governor Seyi Makinde had approved the promotion of 11 Ibadan high chiefs to beaded crown Obas, and on Friday, July 7, had been tentatively fixed for their installation as stipulated in the letter sent to the governor by the Olubadan of Ibadan Land, Oba Lekan Balogun. But while speaking to journalists at his private residence in Bodija, Ibadan, after observing Eid prayers at the University of Ibadan Muslim praying ground on Wednesday, Ladoja said there was no need to fix what was not broken. On the foreign scene, the European Union on Wednesday took its first significant step towards launching a digital version of the euro, a controversial project that has been questioned by politicians and banks. The move to create a digital version of the single currency began in 2020 when European Central Bank ECB President Christine Lagarde suggested the idea, and her Frankfurt-based body launched a public constitution. The European Commission, the EU's executive arm, published a proposal on Wednesday that will be the legal foundation on which the ECB could launch a digital euro. The currency would be available to individuals living in the euro area and for visitors. It would offer an additional payment option for citizens to use online and offline with their digital wallets, thus ensuring a much anonymity as coins and banknotes. In sport, Arsenal has signed German attacking midfielder Kai Havertz from Chelsea on a long-term contract. Neither club disclosed the fee, but British media said Arsenal were paying Chelsea £65 million. He is Arsenal's first signing of the summer, but the British press reported the club had agreed a £105 million fee for the West Ham England midfielder Declan Rice. Havertz joined Chelsea in 2020 from Bayern Leverkusen. He made 139 appearances in 3 seasons, scoring 32 times, including the only goal in the 2021 UEFA Champions League final victory over Manchester City. That's all we have for you today on this edition of News Punch. Up next is the Diamond Breakfast Show, where we bring you the analysis of the stories. Please stay here.
The major talking points in Nigeria are always on the lips of the citizens.
What's going on in this country? Look at smaller countries taking lead, and you call yourself giant of Africa. Yeah.
Nigeria don't spoil my business too much. Nigeria is too hard for us. I mean, I want to kill us. Father, not kill us for Nigeria. Oh, please, help us beg them.
They should reduce their expenditure so that they can free enough money for social development.
I wish for a Nigeria where we elect a leader based on competency and not popularity.
On the Diamond Breakfast Show, we place the spotlight on the critical issues in the country.
Government that says they are broke can prioritize construction of an additional runway over education of the people.
How can how can you hold in domain? This is intolerable. It's provocative.
Now, you see, when you look at our democratic journey, we are yet to practice genuine democratic system in Nigeria.
Join us on Mondays to Friday on the DBS from 9 to 10 a.m. The Diamond Breakfast Show, amplifying the voice of the people.
From the studios of Diamond 88.7 FM in Lorry, this is the Diamond Breakfast Show.
You're welcome back to the Diamond Breakfast Show on Diamond 88.7 FM, where we will be analyzing some of the major talking points in the news today. And my name is TOBI ADEBISI. To do this with me this morning is Barrister Gideon Osagbeni.
Osagbemi.
Okay, Osagbemi, a legal practitioner, public affairs analyst, and social commentator. Good morning, and it's nice to have you in the house.
Thank you. Good morning, and good morning, Nigerians. Thanks for having me again.
And happy celebrations.
Yes, I use this opportunity to felicitate with our Muslim brethren on the occasion of the Salah festival.
Happy celebrations to you, from me to you officially. Let's get into the story for today. Over time, we've seen how easy it is for the populace, for the people, to blame the government for every shortfall in the country. Government is a constituted of a structure that directs the state of affairs in the country. I just thought to put that out. The people decide the government anyways. The government is just there to direct how things go. But we shouldn't forget that we are the ones who actually decide who will be called the government. Even if certain issues turn out to be man-made tweaking many times, still the people decide those who lead them in all capacity. Now, if the society is bad, who makes it bad? The government or the people, or maybe both? Well, that is the discussion this morning on the Diamond Breakfast Show. That's what we're looking at. Who makes the government bad? If the society is bad, who makes it bad? Is it the government or the people? To start with, what defines a sovereign state, a sovereign society? Is it just the government or the people or both?
Thank you very much. Sovereignty derives from the people. But once sovereignty is transferred from the people to government, the balance of equation is no longer there. The social contract theory propounded by Thomas Hobbes, the British philosopher, is to the effect that people, citizens, voluntarily hand over their powers to the government. That is, whatever I can do, whatever you can do, you now volunteer those powers and hand over to government to do on your behalf. So by that, the balance of power is no longer there. The state derives its sovereignty from the powers handed over to it by the people. However, once that power is transferred, the government now becomes excessively powerful. The resources, the means of controlling people, that is power, both naked power and official power, now belongs to the government. So sovereignty derives from people but transferred to the government.
All right, thank you so much for that succinct and really concise definition. Now, let's dive into the political space and into the talk. Elections happen to be one of the critical aspects of society, and that's essentially the means through which the people get to transfer sovereignty to the governments, like you just explained. That's the legal ground for which we now get to elect and choose who is going to lead us for a period of time. It is a process through which the people decide the leaders, and if criticisms affect or influence the choices, then why do we end up with the same set of people? Because over time in Nigeria, this is something that we've noticed going on, right from the time when military was ruling. The guys who ruled us during the military regimes that we had are still so much in power, and they still hold such power and such say in our political space. So, and people have come up to say, oh, we have to keep talking about it, we have to keep criticizing. So if criticism actually does a lot, why is it that we still have this same set of people coming back every time?
Thank you very much. Economic power is the mainstay of politics. When you have economic power, you tend to acquire or want to acquire political power. And once you are able to combine both political and economic powers, it's very, very difficult to be dislodged by anybody. To the specifics of Nigeria, it is true, though unfortunate, that we've had almost the same set of leaders for the past 30 or 40 years now. Someone who was military president in 1976 later became civilian president in 1999. Someone who was military president in 1983 later became president in 2015, and like that, and it continues. It is, however, attributable to the economic powers these people have acquired. Once you are able to get the state resources at your disposal, then you use the same resources to promote your own personal ambitions. So by so doing, the same set of persons, after being in government position once, do not want to leave at all. They end up contesting severally for different positions and trying to navigate other political appointments. As we speak now, the issue is on the front burner in the government of the President Bola Tinubu, who is to set up a cabinet in the next 3 months from his assumption of power. And we discovered that former governors, former ministers have been, it's achievable. Most of the time, you will not have a complete set of repeated leadership. There will certainly be new injections, new fresh hands and new bloods that will be introduced into these appointments. But when we have a situation of 80% old war horses coming back as political appointees, it doesn't add anything. With due respect to former President Buhari, in 2015 when he came on power, it took over 6 months or about 6 months to set up his cabinet. And by the time the cabinet was released, we discovered that 90% were familiar faces. His campaign DG, Rotimi Amechi, his allies, and his political party members who were known faces, former governors, former this, former that, all came back and were appointed as ministers. So you would not expect any new thing from a former governor whose performance in office can easily be assessed. He will not come and do any magic as a minister who accounts to the president when he was unable to do anything serious as a governor, a chief executive himself. You understand? When you are a governor, you are number one in your state. You have all the opportunities and resources to perform and deliver dividends of democracy to people. But if you do not perform excellently, will you now have any magic as a minister where you are not even in charge, where you are an appointee of the president and answerable to the president? It's not likely for anybody to do any magic that he couldn't do as a governor for 8 years in the state. So we are not expecting any new thing from old war horses whenever they are appointed.
All right, thank you so much. And you also mentioned the fact that we have these people returning also because they have economic power, because they can afford to, because, of course, even if we say, if we take a look at the amount they pay for forms, we all know that someone who does not have a substantial economic power cannot dream of, even going there. Now, talking about having economic power and the people and the choice of the people, we've seen over time how things were manipulated in Nigeria, or allegedly manipulated. We saw a lot of, places where you'd expect that, oh, this would happen, and then that happens. And people have said that they may not have evidences to these things, but they still hold on to the fact that we have such even going on. Talking about the case of Peter Obi and the PDP presidential aspirant still in court, challenging the victory of the present president of Nigeria, Bola Tinubu. We have all of that going on. These people are quite sure that they stood, or they won, so they are contesting that. Now the question is, could the process still be manipulated if the people in their large number were resolute in their choices?
Thank you very much. My understanding of what you just raised is the credibility of our elections.
And then the resolution of our people, jumping from here to, I want support here. Do we really know what we're looking for? And could all of this still happen if we knew what we wanted?
Yes, we can have an improved electoral system where votes will count and the decisions of voters will be reflected in the results. Although we are not yet there, we are getting there gradually, but we'll be fooling ourselves if we say we have a perfect electoral system in Nigeria. It is far from the truth. Rigging is a very comprehensive issue that you cannot just dismiss with a wave of hand. There are 1001 means an election could be rigged. So when people say they have voted and their votes have not counted, they are right in their own way. It is extremely possible that people will vote and the final results will not reflect what they believe they have done in the ballot with their ballot papers. However, it is not also possible for us to say votes have never counted. But with a resolute mind of the voters and the populace generally, we can continue to improve till we get to where we want to be. If a set of people decides to vote a particular candidate and they go out massively to cast their vote, it will be very, very difficult for anybody to thwart that wish. So the people need to be more vigilant in terms of protecting their votes. And we also need to, as I advocated before the general election, vote buying is a very serious issue. When people set out on election day to vote and you discover somebody is offering some thousands of naira to you, they end up changing their minds, collect the money intended to induce them, and then cast their vote the other way around. So the people still need to work more on their political wishes and the way they vote, if at all we want any serious change.
All right, thank you so much, sir. You can join in the conversation on 09136 556952. Again, 09136556952 or 08000887887, 08000887887. What do you think about the electoral process? What do you think about the credibility of the government we have? If the society is bad, the question still that we're trashing out this morning, the question is, if the society is bad, who is to be blamed? The government or the people? 09136556952. And for your text and WhatsApp, 09136556864. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Omotayo. I'm calling from Ilorin.
All right, thank you so much. Happy celebrations.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's have you.
My concern is more with the way we run our electoral system. The kind of people that we are bringing to pretend over that program is not supposed to be a political appointment. That's number one. The choice of chairman of INEC is not supposed to be a political thing. It's supposed to be purely independent. That's number one. Number two is that you're asking if we, the people, the electorate, know what we want. Of course, the last election has reflected that we know what we want. The election, the way the election went, you can see the trajectory, you can see the direction the people are following. Are you getting my point? So the part of the matter is that we know what we want. We are only telling people that are in government not to continue to manipulate the system. The system should be allowed to be run effectively, because the institution should be stronger than the individual. So they should allow our institution to be strong to determine, so we can determine where we want to go. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much for joining us in the conversation. 09136556952. I have this, and it says citizens are not smiling. The ordinary citizen is going through avoidable stress for the past 31 days. Prices of essential consumables have doubled and steadily increasing daily. No cost of living allowance to help the citizens mitigate fuel price increase and currency devaluation. President Tinubu should persuade corrupt citizens to return Commonwealth in their possessions to the federal government within 21 days instead of burdening ordinary citizens with taxes. Primary purpose of government is to ensure the welfare of the citizens. That's coming from Kolade from Asadam. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Dr. Zil from Fate.
Thank you, Dr. Zil from Fate today. Let's have your reaction.
We are a nation that we just insecurity or whatever it is we are doing, or we depend on the outside from our leadership to even with people to be saying, especially through the media and papers, we try to deceive ourselves. So our electoral system on paper has a lot of things that are taken away that are good for us. But we manipulate it. Then concerning leadership too. If you look at what we have on paper on our leadership, might not be 100%, but we have this sincere. Sovereignty belongs to the people. And the people are showing in this last election, but we don't allow the people's sovereignty to stand. No. And our judiciary too should really help the people to be able to help the sovereignty as it is. Not here because the political leaders will kill them or have anything to do with them. And with people too should also wake up to really stand by the vote. Not like everybody said. We really stand to defend our vote and see to it that the right person is the one in the next cycle of election is the one that is there.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Zil. That was such a lengthy one, but then the thing being it that he said mostly was about the election umpire, the body that conducts the election, being that the one who heads that body shouldn't be a politician or shouldn't be appointed politically.
Let me briefly react on that issue.
Yeah.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, by its name, ought to be independent.
Yeah.
But when we have a federal system where the federal government controls everything, you cannot fund an agency or a person and not exercise some level of control
over the person.
So I have always advocated for constitutional restructuring unless and until the constitution is amended or even a fresh constitution made to restructure Nigeria, to take away executive powers and decentralize and not concentrate it at the federal level. All these issues will continue. Once you appoint the head of an organization, you fund that organization's annual budget, automatically you are in control of that organization. So we will continue to raise this issue without any answer for as long as INEC is being funded by the federal government.
All right, thank you so much for making that that clarification. Now, another issue when we look at who is responsible for a bad society is corruption. It is evident within the top structure in politics in Nigeria that there's a lot of corruption going on. I mean, we can see the antecedents of even some present public office holders right now. We know the antecedents, we can see, and people have continued to incessantly point to those things, that this person cannot be there because he has done this, he has done that. Now, Nigerians talk about corruption, but do our actions differentiate us from the political class? The people who are pointing the fingers, are they any different from those they are pointing the fingers to, in your opinion?
Thank you very much. The kind of people we have in Nigeria, unfortunately, we are not taking the fight against corruption any serious. The citizens themselves aid and abet corruption. They urge on corrupt leaders as long as those corrupt leaders are able to distribute some peanuts to these citizens. You see a political office holder who was a nobody practically before becoming whatever he became, and in a space of 1 or 2 years is a multimillionaire. He has a retinue of cars, buildings here and there, living large, and nobody is questioning him. All we do is give him chieftaincy titles, go to his house as praise singers. You have political sugar ants flocking around him. Everybody saying yes, 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 sir, yes, sir. The rank-a-day philosophy. Everybody wants to just get his breakfast, the next meal, from the corrupt leader who is now the big man in the society. Somebody's wife is about to give birth. You go to a politician to beg for money for naming ceremony. You want to bury your father, you have to go there to beg for money. And before we know it, the corrupt man becomes a mini god in his society. Are we not encouraging corruption? We are. So people need to have a change of orientation, that you can live and survive without being a political jobber. You should, to an extent, stigmatize those who are perceived or those who are confirmed, convicted of corruption. But when we continue to worship and serve people who have tainted wealth, then we are not ready for a better society. So the society takes the huge blame, the bulk of the blame for corruption, because we urge on those who are corrupt to continue to amass wealth so that they can give crumbs to those who go to them for survival. I
mean, there's even a line that I came across while I was having a conversation with a civil servant. I was opportune to travel with her, and she was talking about some things that shouldn't be, that were going on in their office. She was saying, some people would bring ghost workers in, and they would take those salaries onto themselves. She seemed passionate about what she was discussing until she said this, and I hold it really dearly. I want to see her hold a position tomorrow, and we're going to have a conversation about that. She said, I'm not saying that she shouldn't do that. I'm not saying they shouldn't do it, as long as they also allow us to have our share of it.
Can you imagine?
I was surprised. But then the conversation still continues. Let's go on a short break. It's still the Diamond Breakfast Show on Diamond 88.7 FM.
Diamond FM, Radio made for you.
Are you looking to introduce your business to the world or maintain an existing brand image? Well, let's help you. Advertise with us at Diamond 887 FM in Lorry. We provide a wide range of services to help showcase your business. For inquiries and advert bookings, visit our marketing office at Plot 2, New Uni Road, Irewolede, Ilorin, or call 091 2929 4332 or 081 2828 6078. Diamond 887 FM, your shining supreme station.
Kò sí mọ́ àwọn ká ti sá lọ àrùnmọ́lẹ́gùn ẹ̀yìn dídùn làkúrẹ́ ìgbé wọ́n ti lọ wá bí wọ́n sí kára ó lè pé bàmù rẹ̀ àtòrà dáadáa.
kókó lára ọ̀tá le gbéra ńlẹ̀ kó dìde kára ó lè pè ń bá àtòrà wọ̀ àtòrà pẹ̀sẹ̀ àtòrà dáadáa kegun tó kegun náà kára ó yá gágá ara ń ronú tẹ́lẹ̀ kò ronú mọ́ tẹ̀ bá ti fi kára ó lè pè ń bá ra lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ló ń ṣiṣẹ́ wọnú igun tó sì ń ṣe àtúntò rẹ̀ òṣùbù yẹ̀kẹ́ fa párọ̀ tàbí fi ẹsẹ̀ dá fi kára ó lè pè ń bá wọ̀ káì ara rẹ̀ ó lè padà yakinlala action ó jẹ́ àwọ̀ká àròmọ̀lẹ́gun làkúègbé ara ríro tàbí ẹ̀yìn dídùn kára ó lè pè ń bá lọ́kọ̀ gbogbo wọn agbára pọ̀ kára ó lè pè ń bá tuyi pharmaceutical industries limited àwọn tó lórúkọ tó ṣe é gbẹ́kẹ̀lé níbi ká po oògùn òyìnbó ló ṣe é kára ó lè pè ń bá ẹ̀rọ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ pín ìrèpàtú òpèrè ta pàtà pọ́npọ́n kára ó lè pè ń bá ó kì í síbẹ̀.
kára ó lè pè ń bá mú rẹ̀ àtòrà dáadáa.
Colors, they add meaning to our lives. From birth and naming of a child.
May your life be rich and potent as the red palm oil.
Colors tell of the feelings in our hearts.
Aww.
Through rainbow-like roses or even bubbly emojis. Colors speak of our distinctive ancestry through the shade of our skin. Colors are in the bright garbs we wear to impress, or the deluxe coat we give our buildings.
Wow, this is so beautiful.
And with our proudly Nigerian deluxe paints now available in any color, express your world however you want it. Visit a Deluxe Color Center to get any color instantly.
Dulux, let's color.
Where's your paradise? London, Doha, Singapore, Miami, Zanzibar? This summer, Wakanao has got you covered. Lock down unbeatable travel deals with only 10% down payment and pay small in convenient installments. Book now on wakanao.com. Download the Wakanao app for even cheaper deals or walk into any of our travel centers near you. Take a break. Escape to paradise. Wakanao. Let's go.
Diamond FM, radio made for you.
Alright, so welcome back, and it's still the Diamond Breakfast Show on Diamond 88.7 FM. We are still on the question, if a society is bad, who is to blame? The government or the people? And we're still discussing that. I still have with me in the house Barrister Gideon Osagbemi doing justice to the questions for us. And before we went on that break, I remember that we asked the question about corruption, that the people who are pointing the fingers, are they any clean from what they are pointing the fingers to? My guest in the house has been doing justice to that, and I remember that I also cited the example of a civil servant that I was opportune to travel with, and the kind of that I said all of that to make a point at the kind of mindsets that we also have as a people. Well, no, I'm not saying that you can eat your own. No, you can eat your own. Just give me my own. Let it go round. Just let it go round. It's national cake. That kind of mindset. Now, there were some economic reforms in the past. We've seen a lot of them in the past governments that we've witnessed in Nigeria. Let's start from the first administration's effort to close the border and improve locally made products like rice and vegetable oil. Before those decisions, the locally made products was averagely affordable. But immediately after the decision is taken, you see the prices skyrocketing. An example is our local rice. Before the border was closed, you could you could get the local rice for as low as 20 naira per cup, getting a full model for like 200 naira, 180 thereabout. But immediately the border was closed, we saw things getting more expensive because now they know that we have to fall back on that. And we should let people know that the reason that one of the reasons for these things to for the border to even be closed at the time was because we were to fall back on the things we produced locally, feeding ourselves, one, generating revenue for the country, number two, and also making cost of living better for the people. But then we see these things happen, and instead of these things to get better, you see prices increasing. That's number one. We saw what happened during the Naira redesign, and when the president announced that the subsidy was gone, he just said that, oh, the era of subsidy is over. He had not even come out to say we have removed it officially, and immediately we saw filling stations closing up and now are selling at exorbitant prices. Now it looks like the common man is not different from the government, coming from where we're actually coming from, and just the office differentiates us. Or what do you think? What's your what would you say? What's your impression about all of these things at the time?
Before someone occupies a political office, he was the common man. So the common man just moves from the position of common man in his own house to a man in government house. So the same mentality Nigerians have as a common man is what they take to political offices and positions, and continue to act as a greedy man that they were before becoming whatever they became. On those policies we have had in the past, it's rather unfortunate. I think I've discussed it in this studio before, that before you can put an end to importation of goods, you must have ensured self-sufficiency in production. You don't just, as a wish, believe you have self-sufficiency and then you must put an end to importation of goods. When the border was closed, in order to put an end to importation of foreign rice, we didn't have locally produced rice enough to service the demands of Nigerians. And we didn't do anything to even improve on what we had. Rather, the prices increased. And that was why eventually the decision had to be rescinded. The border was opened, and today we have both foreign and local rice competing in the market, and the prices have never reduced. It continued to increase. So what I'm saying in other words is that if government policies are not well thought of before implementation, they are bound to fail, just as the closure of border did not achieve the intention it was meant to achieve.
Now, some also argue that the reason some policies made by the government do not eventually sail through is because they are usually too drastic. They are drastic, they are sudden, no proper preparation made, not even in the light of execution. Now, say, what do you have on ground to do that? Let's look at the Naira redesign. I mean, it came in a couple of months. People didn't have time to actually even mentally prepare for it, and there was no preparation really on the government's part to also make sure that was a smooth transition. And now that policy, we all know that it has been rescinded also. Now that's one. We see a lot of these policies. What would you say? Would you also say that the policies coming from the government are usually sodden? Would you say that?
It's extremely true. In fact, the best example we can use is the removal of fuel subsidy. The way it was announced with respect to the president was very hasty, and there was no preparation of any sort before making the announcement. And we discovered that the effect started happening few hours after
few
the
hours
announcement.
after.
Whereas the government had not yet even been constituted properly. The president was being inaugurated when he made the statement. And this is a president who was yet to even put in place any plan to put up palliatives as a result of the hardship that will come from the removal of the fuel subsidy. All this had not been done, but the president went ahead to make the hasty announcement that led to increase in price of everything. And for 29 or 30 days now, or 31 days, no policy has been put in place to cushion the effect of the hardship. So the president ought to first set up his plans, the palliatives, the mode and manner of cushioning the effect before going to press to make any announcement. On the issue of the redesign of the Naira note, though the CBN had already for about 3 to 6 months given notice of the redesign, it was not such a sudden decision. There were notices, though Nigerians didn't take the notices seriously until it became a reality. But it is true, if not an understatement, that most of our policies were not properly thought out before being announced, and it will definitely affect implementation. The issue of removal of fuel subsidy is the best example that we are still battling with now.
All right, thank you so much. Some people also say that most times what our government is supposed to put forward is not what they do after. Now that you've made mention of the fuel subsidy removal, after that announcement was made and after the official price for fuel per liter was made known, we now saw the president. We saw oil marketers going in a meeting with the president and then coming out to say, oh, we'll give buses, we'll do this.
Things that ought to have been done before making any announcement.
Before making that announcement. So even if you made the announcement hastily and people swung into action when they were not supposed to swing into action, you could have easily say, okay, we had this plan on ground before, we're just waiting for the best time to launch it. People are like, if those plans were on ground, then it would have been easy. Okay, let us launch it. Since people have taken action into their hands, let us launch it. What do you think about all of this? You know, the question is still, if we have a bad society, who is to be blamed? And there are points for, there are points against government and the people. People say we are the ones. People say it is the government. People say, oh, the government, we've given them the responsibility for us. People are also saying the people that you gave the responsibility, how credible are they? Those are the issues that we're looking at today. 09136556952 and 08000887887. That's the number to call to be a part of the show. Let us know what your opinion is about this. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
This is who? Okay, please turn down the volume of your radio set.
It's off already.
Okay, let's have you.
Okay, you see, I think the two parties are to be blamed. Yeah. But to start with, I heard you mention something about the closure of the border. Okay, you see, for me, I would have to be very careful with my choice of words. Okay? You see, to start with, to be a leader, you need wisdom. A leader that without wisdom is bound to fail. Are you listening?
Yeah, we're listening.
Okay. I would like to be very fast on this. I will take you to the Holy Book. There's a person in the Holy Book that, when he became the Prime Minister, he was able to save up enough. Okay? He was able to save up enough for his citizens and probably for buyers that might come to purchase from them. Okay? Before the closure of the border, do we have enough for the citizens, not just also for buyers that might come to purchase? Because I believe wisdom will propel your foresight. As a leader, if you lack wisdom, I'm sorry to use that word, if you lack wisdom, forget it. You can never be successful. You are bound to fail. Okay? And according to the question, see, Nigerians, we've got so many actions. More than 2-3 decades. We've been going through hardship. So what we need right now is solace. So a leader without wisdom should definitely know that there's no how you can but provide solution. Okay? There's no how you can give solace to the citizen. So if you lack wisdom, forget it. So that's my own. Wisdom is key. Wisdom is the principal thing. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Wisdom is the principal thing. That's the point is trying to raise, that before you do all of these things, come up with something. Do not let it be sudden. Hello, good morning. Hello. All right. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Samuel from Awode.
All right, thank you. Let's have you, Samuel.
I want to start from the sovereignty that belongs to Nigeria, because I believe that that is where those governments derive their power they are exercising over us today. So, and if you look at Nigeria law constitution, it's talking about if you open the Nigeria 1999 constitution, it's talking about the federal military eras. And that is the constitution that we can see elections, how to qualify to elections, how the election is going to be conducted. So Nigeria, for me, our legislature has a lot of work to do in the area of amending the law and find to just a subsection and try to make it affordable to the less privileged in Nigeria. And also look at the case of the election tribunal that is ongoing now. Some people have been bringing out on the ground that there is no transmission of election results to the beavers. And beavers is not INEC. There is difference between INEC and beavers. Beavers is just like a farmer that's having a machine that maybe is living far from his house, that he needs to, okay, let him assist himself by taking a machine to his farm. So if the workload for him to be able to work well when he gets to the farm. And there is not a point to ask the farmer that the fact that you didn't come with your machine to your farm today, that the work done in the farm today will be null and void.
All right.
So the third issue is the issue of Nigeria. I think Tinubu inherited a lot of embargoes in this administration, and I believe the hard way is the best way.
All right.
So I appeal to all Nigerians, we should be patiently enough for him. Nigeria will still be good.
All right,
God
thank you
bless
so
Nigeria.
much for coming. Thank you for that. I have this on WhatsApp and it says, good morning and happy Eid. If INEC is totally independent, where and who will fund it? I don't think there's any way the federal government can totally hands off the affairs of INEC, but the hierarchy should stay off politics. Olushala from Ilori. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Precious Treasure from Ubuntu.
All right, thank you. Let's have you, Precious.
Thank you. Greetings to Barista in the studio.
Thank you.
Well, my submission is on how to fight this corruption. But me think, if you want to fight the corruption, we should stop making those appointments be given to the minister. We should stop using the appointment for compensation. You know, some leaders, they use that to compensate that this one work for me during campaign, this one work for me before I emerge and so things, and they use it as compensation. So the appointment, the post given to someone, the key post in the country given to someone as compensation, and if that person corrupt in that area, how do you not think we can fight such? So they can't fight each other. It's until when there is a rancor between them that they start pursuing each other using corruption, ICPC and EFCC against each other. So if we stop appointing them using all these key points that determine the life of the citizens or the life of the country, we should stop using it as compensation for the politician. I think it will still curb corruption to a bit.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for calling in. And finally, before we go, yes, you can.
I want to respond to the caller before the last caller. He raised two issues. One on the constitution. He said the constitution was not homemade. It's not made by Nigerians. It is true. But the constitution does not need an amendment. We actually need a new constitution that will be made by Nigerians. If you read the preamble to the Nigerian 1999 Constitution, it says we, the people of Nigeria, give ourselves this constitution. And the question is, who are those people? Those people are less than 30 military officers who sat down in a room and made the 1999 Constitution and gave it to us. So we have been amending the Constitution since 1999, but I argue that we cannot get the best out of that Constitution unless we make an autonomous Constitution for ourselves, which will be a product of the thinking of 200 million Nigerians and not a few military junta giving us the Constitution. On the second issue of Beavers, he said that Beavers was not part of INEC. Beavers is a product of INEC and it is backed by law. So we cannot take INEC and throw away Beavers. It is part of
it is part of INEC.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Good morning, presenter and the analyst. Why don't we have good leaders in this country? The citizens, the followers are the problems. Why the leaders don't care about the poor masses when they get to power. Before the election, Nigerians will be thinking right, but during the election, everyone wants to become a millionaire. Majority of us will abandon what we are supposed to tell the politicians to do for us. To get the right leaders at the helm of affairs, it lies on the followers. If we desist from our usual habits, that is of wanting to become millionaires during election.
I spoke about this earlier. About vote buying and compromising standards.
You know, there's a coinage for that now, Diboko Sebe, and when you hear it, it sounds really normal. But I mean, it's not supposed to be normal that that people are even proud of selling their votes to make a pot of soup that would probably not even last you for 24 hours. For something that would last you for 8 years. Let's get this call as we prepare to round up. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning. Please turn down the volume of your radio.
Yeah, it has been done. It has been done.
Thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is General calling from Ilori.
All right, thank you, General.
I want to give kudos to the analyst and to you, the presenter.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, I don't have so much comment to make, but I want to advise the president. You see, in all that is being done in this country, every policy that is being made in this country. Hello, I hope you are hearing me.
Yes, we are.
Yes, I am in shoe. You know, everybody knows where, according to the ADEBISI, they usually live. We know where the shoes facing are. Let me go straight to the point. I want to advise the president and all affairs of this country to always remember people with disabilities. Honestly. In all policies that you made, the people with disabilities, whether blind, deaf, or they are the most people that usually suffer, especially in this era of this so-called removal of subsidies. Now, they should always remember disabled people because when election is coming, they remember the people with disabilities to come and vote. So if they usually eventually get to the office, they should also remember disabled people. We are not enjoying anything from the government. So that is it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, General, for calling. That is like a heartfelt, submission.
Heart-touching. I will advise the caller that they should form an organization.
They have.
So that they can push their interests whenever there is an upcoming election or even without the election. As an organization, association, registered, they can always ask for more. They can make demands.
I was even opportune to meet their secretary sometimes ago. We were running something together for them. So I really hope that these things begin to yield results.
Let me add that as a legal practitioner who engages in pro bono service, we will be willing on one or few occasions whenever they need legal services. We'll be ready to render our own contribution.
All right. Thank you so much. And that will be the size of our package today on the Diamond Breakfast Show, production of the News and Current Affairs Department. Thank you so much, Barrister Gideon, for calling and for, being there this morning. We hope that you'd come back sometime later.
Thank you.
All right. The celebrations still continue. Do not forget to bring yourself and your neighbors and your children to the Diamond Breakfast Show today to enjoy yourself. Like I said, the celebration is still on, and you want to see all of the goodies that we have for you at the Diamond Amusement Park now. You want to see the big pendulum. You want to see the pirate ship. We have new equipment for you, and you want to come across. My name is TOBI. ADEBISI. Have yourself an amazing rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Diamond FM, radio made for you.